Communication is the secret weapon of connection and influence. It's not just about talking, it's about being heard. Whether you're building relationships, leading teams, or selling ideas, the right words can make all the difference. This book will show you how to unlock your communication potential. You'll learn to connect with anyone, anytime. You'll discover the hacks that influence people without manipulation. Stick with me. Hit subscribe, and let's master the art of communication, one chapter at a time. Chapter 1. The Power of First Impressions. First impressions matter. They don't just matter, they define how the relationship will unfold. The moment you walk into a room, the first few seconds are already working in your favor or against you. Before you say a word, people are already forming an opinion about you. This is the power of nonverbal communication. Your body language, your eye contact, your posture. These first few signals set the stage for everything that follows. But it's not just about what others see. It's about how you feel when you enter the room. Confidence, or the lack of it, shows immediately. How you present yourself in the first few moments of interaction determines the energy of the whole conversation. Your words may be lost, but your presence will be felt. People may forget what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And that feeling starts with your first impression. The power of body language. Your body speaks long before you do. It communicates your mood, your confidence, your openness. When you walk into a room with a slumped posture, you're telling people, "I'm unsure." When you enter with your shoulders back, your head up, you're telling them, "I'm ready." Your body language is the first cue people use to decide how to treat you. If you look confident, they will treat you as such. If you look uncertain, they may hesitate to trust you. And the great thing about body language is that it can be controlled. You can choose how to stand, how to walk, how to sit. These small adjustments will instantly change the way people perceive you. Start with the basics. Stand tall. Keep your head up. Smile genuinely. These simple actions create an aura of approachability and confidence. The eyes have it. Your eyes are the windows to your soul. They say more than any words ever could. When you make eye contact with someone, you are telling them, "I'm present, I'm engaged, and I respect you." Without eye contact, you say the opposite. "I'm distracted, I'm not really interested." In the first few moments of interaction, your eyes are critical. They draw people in or push them away. A steady, kind gaze says, "I'm listening, I'm here." Lack of eye contact says, "I'm elsewhere." Making eye contact is an instant connection. It shows confidence, openness, and honesty. It creates trust. But like anything else, balance is key. Too much eye contact can feel aggressive. Too little can feel disengaged. The best communicators find that sweet spot. The right amount of eye contact that invites connection without overwhelming the other person. How to craft a powerful first impression. You're walking into a room, a meeting, a new job interview. How can you make sure your first impression is powerful? Start with your posture. When you stand tall, you project confidence. When you slouch, you project uncertainty. Next, think about your tone. Speak slowly and clearly. A steady, calm voice shows you are in control and comfortable in your space. An anxious or rushed voice gives off the opposite impression. Your handshake, or greeting, is equally important. A firm handshake is not about strength. It's about respect. It says, "I'm here, and I value this interaction." A limp handshake, on the other hand, signals a lack of confidence. And of course, your smile. Smiling doesn't just make you look approachable, it makes you feel approachable. When you smile, you relax your face, calm your body, and project positivity. People respond to that energy. But your first impression is not just about how you appear physically. It's about the energy you bring into the room. Do you radiate warmth and openness? Do you show interest in others? Do you speak with sincerity? These things are felt immediately. The way you make people feel in the first few moments is what they will remember. How to master your first impressions. First impressions can be controlled, but they also need to be genuine. People can tell when you're pretending to be confident, pretending to be interested, pretending to care. Authenticity is key. If you're trying too hard, it shows. If you're comfortable with yourself, it shows even more. So here's the secret. Mastering the art of first impressions means mastering yourself. It's about being comfortable enough to be real. It's about walking into every interaction with the belief that you belong, with the certainty that you have something to offer. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up as your true self and letting that shine through. And when you do, you'll create a powerful first impression every time. Chapter 2. Building rapport with anyone. Rapport is the foundation of every relationship. It's the invisible thread that connects you to others, whether you're speaking to a colleague, a client, or a stranger. Without rapport, communication is just noise. With it, every word becomes meaningful. Every interaction becomes an opportunity. Building rapport isn't about being liked. It's about creating trust. And trust is the key to connection. The moment you connect with someone, the conversation changes. It stops being transactional and starts being relational. How do you build rapport? It starts with listening. Most people listen to reply. They wait for their turn to talk, not truly hearing the other person. But when you listen to understand, you make people feel seen. And when people feel seen, they trust you. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means acknowledging where they are. It means saying, I hear you, I get it. Rapport also starts with finding common ground. We're all different, but we all share something in common. It might be a shared experience, a shared goal, or even a shared sense of humor. The more you look for that common thread, the stronger the connection becomes. Mirroring is another powerful tool. People like those who are like them. When you subtly mirror someone's tone, body language, or energy, you make them feel comfortable. But be careful not to overdo it. Rapport is about subtlety, not imitation. The most important element of building rapport is authenticity. People can feel when you're being real, and they're drawn to it. When you're genuine, you invite others to be genuine with you. You create a space where both people can show up fully, without masks or pretenses. Humor is another key ingredient. Laughter brings people together. It lightens the mood and makes everyone feel more relaxed. But again, timing is everything. A joke at the wrong moment can push someone away. The right joke at the right time builds trust and connection. The beauty of rapport is that it doesn't take long to build. It doesn't require a lifetime of familiarity. Sometimes just a few minutes of real connection is enough. It's about being present. It's about showing that you care. It's about giving someone the space to be themselves. And when you do that, you open the door for something deeper, something lasting. Rapport is the gateway to influence. Once you've established it, people listen to you more closely. They take your ideas more seriously. Because once trust is built, everything else falls into place. You can challenge, guide, and lead because you've built a solid foundation of connection. And remember, rapport isn't about manipulation. It's about connection. It's about creating an environment where communication flows freely, where both parties feel valued and understood. So how do you build rapport? Start by truly seeing people. Start by listening with intention. Start by being yourself. That's the key. When you show up as your authentic self, you invite others to do the same. And that's when true connection happens. Chapter 3. The psychology of influence. Influence is more than persuasion. It's the art of changing perception. To influence others, you must first understand them. What drives their decisions? What are their fears, desires, needs? Psychology shows that people act based on emotion, not logic. They justify decisions with reason, but they make them with feeling. The secret of influence is in recognizing that emotion. It's not about overpowering someone's logic. It's about guiding their emotions toward a decision. When you understand how people think, you can gently steer their choices. This isn't manipulation, it's alignment. Influence begins with trust. People won't listen to you unless they trust you. Without trust, your words are just noise. The most influential people aren't the loudest. They're the most trustworthy. They speak with honesty, consistency, and integrity. Their actions match their words. When trust is established, influence flows naturally. It's like water running through a stream, effortless. But it doesn't stop with trust. Influence is built on understanding. The more you understand someone's needs and desires, the more you can offer them value. When you offer value, you earn the right to influence. Every conversation is an opportunity to shape a decision. But that decision doesn't always come from what you say. It comes from how you make the other person feel. Emotions drive decisions. People are more likely to act on what feels right than what makes sense on paper. This is the psychology of influence. It's about creating emotional resonance. When your message resonates with someone's core emotions, it sparks action. But emotional influence must be used responsibly. It's not about manipulation. It's about connection. People can tell when you're trying to manipulate them. And the moment they sense it, their influence evaporates. True influence comes from a place of care. When you genuinely want the best for someone, they feel it, they trust you. This is why empathy is so powerful in influence. When you understand how someone feels, you can guide them to where they need to be, without force. Influence is also about alignment. When your goals align with someone else's, your words become more compelling. You're no longer pushing against their resistance. You're working with their natural flow. People are influenced by those they admire. Admiration is earned through authenticity. When you show up as you are, with confidence and integrity, others admire you for your authenticity. Admiration leads to trust. Trust leads to influence. One of the most subtle yet powerful forms of influence is through consistency. When you consistently show up, when you remain steady in your words and actions, people begin to rely on you. Reliability creates influence. When people know what to expect from you, they start turning to you for guidance. They trust your judgment. The psychology of influence also teaches us about reciprocity. When you give, people feel a natural need to give back. This isn't about transactions. It's about building a relationship. Influence is a cycle. You give respect. You get respect. You give trust. You get trust. You give understanding. You get influence. When you influence with integrity, people follow willingly. They don't feel pressured. They feel empowered. Influence isn't about control. It's about offering a vision. Others are eager to follow. The true power of influence comes not from forcing change, but from inspiring it. And that inspiration is rooted in the psychology of connection. In the end, influence is about creating shared goals. It's about guiding people toward what they truly want and showing them how to get there. When you understand the psychology behind influence, you realize that it's not about manipulating others. It's about aligning yourself with their needs, their desires, and their values. This creates a relationship of mutual respect, where influence becomes a natural part of the conversation. So, when you communicate with clarity, with empathy, and with integrity, you don't just influence. You create a movement. Chapter 4. The Art of Persuasion. Persuasion is not about manipulation. It's about guidance. It's the skill of leading people to the decisions they already want to make, but haven't yet seen. True persuasion doesn't pressure. It invites. It doesn't force. It inspires. In the workspace, persuasion is everything. It's how you get buy-in for ideas. It's how you convince a team to follow your lead. It's how you turn objections into opportunities. But persuasion starts with trust. Without trust, every attempt at persuasion falls flat. If people don't trust you, they won't listen to you. They'll resist you, no matter how convincing your argument. The key to persuasion is understanding. Understanding where someone's hesitation comes from, what their fears are, what their desires are. Persuasion isn't about talking someone into something they don't want. It's about aligning your message with their needs. When you do this, your words don't feel like a pitch. They feel like a solution. To persuade effectively, start by listening. People can't persuade others without first hearing them. When you listen deeply, you learn what motivates others. You find the emotional triggers that push them toward action. Persuasion is emotional. It works through connection, not logic. Logic may win the mind, but emotions win the heart. Think of persuasion as planting a seed. The seed is your idea, and your words water it, nourish it, and help it grow. People are more likely to act when they feel like they own the idea. When you speak in a way that lets them think the decision is theirs, you empower them to take action. But persuasion is also about timing. A great idea can fall flat if it's delivered at the wrong time. A soft word at the right moment can have more impact than shouting your point over and over. Timing isn't just about when you speak. It's about pacing, how you build your case, how you let things settle, and when you ask for a commitment. The art of persuasion is about guiding the other person gently through your point of view until they see it as their own. They don't feel like they were convinced. They feel like they discovered the truth themselves. Another element of persuasion is framing. Framing is how you present your message. It's the context you give. When you frame something as an opportunity, people are more likely to accept it. When you frame it as a threat, they are more likely to resist. This is where emotional intelligence plays a role. How you frame your message shapes how others perceive it. If you frame a conversation in terms of benefit, you open the door to persuasion. If you frame it in terms of fear, you close it. People are drawn to stories. A compelling narrative makes persuasion effortless. When you tell stories that resonate with your listeners' experiences or desires, they see themselves in the story. They want the same outcome. They want to be part of that narrative. The art of persuasion is not about forcing change. It's about aligning your vision with the person's desires. It's about showing them the path they want to walk, but in a way they never imagined. The best persuaders don't argue. They share possibilities. They don't win debates. They create vision. And the vision is always clearer when you speak with authenticity. People are persuaded by those who speak with genuine belief. When you communicate with passion, it's contagious. People don't follow you because of your words. They follow you because of your energy. When you speak with confidence and align your ideas with their needs, persuasion becomes natural. The key to persuasion is patience. You're not trying to force a decision. You're guiding it. You're letting them come to it on their own, at their own pace. In the end, the most powerful form of persuasion is respect. When you respect someone's intelligence, their emotion, and their autonomy, they trust you. And once trust is there, persuasion becomes a natural extension of the relationship. So when you speak, speak with clarity, speak with passion, speak with purpose. But most of all, speak with respect. Because when you respect people, you not only persuade them, you empower them. Chapter 5. The power of listening in persuasion. Listening is the silent art of persuasion. It doesn't take force. It doesn't take volume. It takes patience, presence, and understanding. People speak to be heard, but they need to feel understood. The most powerful persuasion comes from knowing what the other person needs before they even say it. When you truly listen, you step into someone else's world. You hear their fears, their desires, their hopes, and with that understanding, you can speak to their heart. Listening isn't just about waiting for your turn to talk. It's about engaging. It's about reading between the lines. What is the person really saying? What are they not saying? The more you listen, the more you learn. You learn their pain points, their motivation, their obstacles. Listening builds rapport. It tells the other person, I care enough to hear you out. When you listen deeply, you open a door to influence. Because once you understand someone, you can speak to what matters most to them. You can align your message with their needs, their values, their goals. Good listening is more than hearing words. It's feeling the emotion behind those words. It's noticing the body language, the pauses, the tone. Those are the clues that tell you how to persuade. When you listen, you also gain trust. People follow those they trust. And trust is built through respect. When you listen attentively, you show respect for the other person's thoughts and feelings. You don't have to agree with them to persuade them, but you do have to understand them. When you understand, your message becomes a mirror. It reflects what the other person truly wants to see. Listening is a tool of empathy. It's what allows you to speak to someone's desires, their struggles, their dreams. When you listen, you stop thinking about what you want to say next. You stop preparing your rebuttal. You stop focusing on your agenda. Instead, you focus on their needs. That shift in focus is what makes persuasion work. The key to listening is patience. You can't rush it. You have to let the person speak fully before responding. You have to be willing to sit in silence and just absorb. Patience gives people space. It makes them feel valued. And in that space, you can understand their emotions and understand how to guide them toward action. People know when you're truly listening. It's in the way you lean in. It's in the way you hold eye contact. It's in the way you respond thoughtfully. When you listen well, you do more than hear. You connect. You become part of the conversation, not just a voice in it. Listening allows you to choose your response wisely. You don't react out of frustration or ego. You respond with insight. You speak from understanding. The most influential people are also the best listeners. They listen without judgment. They listen without interrupting. They listen without preparing their answer. They simply listen, and in that listening, they win the trust and respect of those they wish to influence. And so, the next time you enter a conversation, before you speak, take a moment to listen. Let the words flow without interruption. Let the silence speak its truth. When you listen deeply, you'll find the most powerful persuasive tool at your fingertips. Chapter 6: The Role of Emotional Intelligence in Persuasion. Emotions drive decisions. They aren't always logical, but they are always powerful. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. When you have high EQ, you can tune into the emotional landscape of any situation. You know when to push, when to pause, and when to pivot. In persuasion, emotional intelligence is your superpower. It's the difference between getting through to someone and talking past them. When you understand someone's emotions, you know how to speak to them. You know what makes them tick, what triggers their resistance, what motivates their action. EQ gives you the insight to adjust your approach in real time. It lets you guide conversations toward solutions, instead of letting them spiral into conflict. Emotionally intelligent communicators don't just speak. They read the room. They sense the mood. They feel the emotional current underneath every word. This awareness makes your persuasion more effective, because you're not just responding to what's being said. You're responding to what's being felt. When you approach persuasion from an emotional standpoint, you stop trying to convince people. Instead, you engage them. You understand them. You meet them where they are. High EQ means you can control your own emotions, and that control is key in persuasion. When you stay calm, even in stressful situations, you model confidence and stability. That steadiness makes your words more powerful. People follow leaders who can maintain composure under pressure. Emotional intelligence also helps you listen with empathy. You don't just hear the words, you feel the emotion behind them. And when you connect with someone's feelings, you instantly become more persuasive. People trust those who understand their emotions. When they feel heard and understood, they are more likely to be influenced by you. The emotionally intelligent communicator uses emotional awareness to craft their message. They know when to push forward and when to pull back. They know when to ask questions and when to give answers. This understanding helps you tailor your message to fit the emotional needs of the other person. You speak to their hopes, their fears, their desires, and when you do, your words become irresistible. EQ helps you manage resistance. Instead of confronting objections head-on, you address the emotions behind them. When someone says, "I'm not sure about this," they may not be expressing doubt about the idea. They're expressing fear of change. By addressing their fear and acknowledging their feelings, you can move past resistance to acceptance. Emotionally intelligent persuasion also means knowing when to show vulnerability. When you admit uncertainty or weakness, you create connection. People feel safe with you because they see you as human, not perfect. And vulnerability doesn't weaken your position, it strengthens your influence. Emotionally intelligent people know how to create rapport. They mirror others' emotions without mimicking them. They understand when to share their own emotions and when to let the other person's emotions take center stage. This ability to attune to others' feelings creates trust. Trust is the foundation of influence. Without it, you can persuade, but you won't lead. Emotional intelligence helps you lead with empathy. It gives you the skill to navigate tough conversations, to speak with confidence without arrogance, and to influence without manipulation. The more emotionally aware you are, the easier persuasion becomes. You stop pushing against people. You start flowing with them. This is the secret of great persuasion. It's not about what you say, but how you make others feel. When you make people feel understood, valued, respected, they become more open to your influence. High EQ gives you the ability to manage the emotional dynamics of any interaction. It helps you stay grounded in your own emotions, while also guiding the emotions of others. When you master both, you don't just persuade, you inspire. You don't just influence, you connect. Chapter 7. Building charisma through communication. Charisma isn't magic, it's communication. It's the art of making people feel seen, heard, and understood. It's not about being loud, it's about being magnetic. Charisma is a feeling. It's the energy that draws people in without effort. When you speak with charisma, people want to listen. They want to connect. They want to follow you. But charisma is not something you're born with. It's something you create, moment by moment, conversation by conversation. It begins with presence. Charismatic people are present in the moment. They don't rush. They don't check their phones. They don't think ahead. They engage. They make the person in front of them feel like the most important person in the room. This presence comes from confidence, not the loud, brash kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind. When you're comfortable in your own skin, people sense it. And that sense of comfort is magnetic. Charisma is also in your tone. It's not about what you say, it's how you say it. A calm, steady tone brings people closer. A high-pitched, rushed tone pushes people away. When you speak with charisma, you speak slowly, you speak clearly, you speak with intention. Every word is an invitation. Every pause is a moment of power. Charismatic people know how to use silence. They don't fill every gap with words. They let the silence breathe. And in that silence, their words become stronger. Charisma also comes from empathy. It's about seeing the person in front of you, not just the conversation. It's about noticing their emotions, their body language, and adjusting your tone to meet them where they are. People are drawn to those who make them feel understood. When you listen with genuine empathy, you create connection that words alone can't achieve. Charisma is contagious. When you walk into a room with warmth, confidence, and presence, it spreads. It's a ripple effect. The more you give, the more you receive. When you make others feel good about themselves, they want to return that energy. But charisma is also about knowing when to lead and when to follow. You don't need to dominate every conversation. You don't need to always be the center of attention. Sometimes the most charismatic thing you can do is let someone else shine. True charisma is the ability to make others feel powerful. And in that, you become powerful too. Charismatic people speak with clarity, but they also speak with emotion. They don't hide their passion. They share it. When you speak with emotion, you speak with authenticity, and that authenticity creates trust. Trust is the foundation of charisma. When people trust you, they listen to you, they follow you, they believe in you. Charisma is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about creating a space where people feel safe, valued, and heard. The most charismatic people don't try to impress. They try to connect. And in that connection, they influence. Charisma is a dance. It's give and take. It's listening and speaking. It's presence and pause. When you learn to communicate with charisma, you become a magnet for opportunity, for relationships, for success. But the real power of charisma comes when you use it for others. When you lift others up, you lift yourself higher. True charisma isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most present, the most engaged, the most connected. When you speak with charisma, people not only hear you, they feel you. And that feeling is what makes all the difference. So, the next time you step into a room, bring your presence, bring your empathy, bring your energy, and watch how your words become magnetic. Chapter 8. Influence through connection. Influence begins with connection. You can't influence someone if you don't understand them. You can't persuade them if they don't feel seen. At its core, influence is about making people feel understood, valued, and respected. True connection is the foundation of trust, and trust is the bedrock of influence. When you connect with someone, you create a space where they feel safe to listen. They feel safe to act. But connection doesn't happen by chance. It happens through intentional, empathetic communication. When you listen with the intent to understand, you create a bridge between you and the other person. The moment someone feels understood, they open up. They share their fears, their needs, their desires. They stop being defensive and start being receptive. Connection creates an environment where influence becomes natural. When you understand where someone is coming from, you can speak to their core desires. You can show them how your message aligns with their needs. The power of connection is its ability to dissolve resistance. When people feel connected to you, they stop resisting your influence. They trust your guidance. But connection requires more than words. It requires attention. It requires empathy. It requires presence. When you give someone your full attention, you send a message that they matter. In a world full of distractions, this is one of the most powerful ways to build connection. Empathy is the bridge to connection. When you empathize, you step into someone's shoes. You see the world through their eyes. You feel their pain, their joy, their struggle. This emotional connection is what makes influence possible. People are more likely to follow you when they feel understood, when they feel that their needs matter to you. The next time you want to influence someone, start by connecting. Listen, feel, understand. Don't jump into your message. Don't rush to fix things. Just be there, in the moment, with them. Connection is not about agreement. It's about acknowledgement. When you acknowledge someone's perspective, you show respect for their emotions, and that respect paves the way for influence. Influence through connection is about creating shared goals. It's about aligning your vision with the other person's needs. When they see that your objectives are tied to theirs, they naturally gravitate toward you. But this takes patience. You can't rush connection. You can't fake it. You have to build it, piece by piece, through genuine interactions. When you create a connection, you also create opportunity. Because connection opens doors. It breaks down barriers. People follow those they feel connected to. They listen to those they trust. And they act on behalf of those who have earned their respect. Connection is not a one-time effort. It's an ongoing process. It's about continually showing up, being present, and being authentic. Over time, your influence grows as your connections deepen. You stop being just a voice. You become a trusted presence, a source of guidance, a source of strength. And the more you connect with others, the more they will follow you. Influence is no longer something you push for. It becomes something you naturally carry, simply because people trust you. The foundation of connection is empathy. The bridge to influence is trust. And the energy that makes it all work is genuine care. When you lead with connection, you lead with heart. And heart is the most powerful force in persuasion. So, the next time you need to influence, start by connecting. Listen more than you speak. Care more than you instruct. When you do, your influence will flow effortlessly. Because true influence never forces, it connects. Chapter 9. The Power of Empathy in Influence. Empathy is the foundation of influence. It's the invisible thread that connects you to others' emotions and allows you to lead with understanding, not force. When you empathize, you step into someone else's world. You feel their struggles, their hopes, their pain, their desires. And when people feel understood, they open up. They trust you. They follow you. Empathy makes influence real. It turns a conversation into a connection. It turns disagreement into collaboration. It turns a simple conversation into a meaningful exchange. When you lead with empathy, you don't just hear the words. You hear the emotions behind them. You understand the context. You grasp the deeper needs that drive those words. People are more likely to follow those who understand them. When you take the time to listen deeply, to truly feel what the other person is feeling, you create an emotional bond that builds trust. Empathy also makes communication more effective. When you speak to someone's emotions, you speak to their heart. And when you speak to someone's heart, your words resonate. Influence comes from connection, and connection comes from understanding. Empathy allows you to read the room. It lets you feel when someone is holding back, when they're upset, when they need encouragement, or when they need space. By noticing these subtle signals, you adjust your approach to match their emotional state. You meet them where they are and guide them from there. The best leaders understand that their influence comes from their ability to connect emotionally. They don't dominate conversations. They listen. They respond with care. They lead with understanding, not authority. Empathy is the key to persuasive communication. Without it, your words are just noise. With it, your message touches people's hearts. People follow leaders who make them feel seen and heard. They follow those who show they care. They follow those who understand their struggles. Empathy helps you break through barriers. It dissolves resistance. It creates trust, and that trust opens the door for influence. When you understand someone's emotions, you know how to speak to them. You know when to push, when to pull back, when to offer reassurance, and when to ask for commitment. Empathy allows you to guide others toward their own conclusions, without pushing them, without forcing them. It allows them to see what's best for them, and empowers them to make the choice themselves. This is where true influence lies, in showing people that you have their best interests at heart, in speaking to their emotions, not just their logic. When people trust that you care, they are more willing to be influenced. Empathy also makes feedback more effective. When you empathize with someone's feelings, you can deliver feedback in a way that's constructive, not destructive. You can offer criticism without damaging confidence. You can offer advice without sounding condescending. Empathy makes your words healing, not hurtful. The most influential people are those who make others feel understood. They don't just give advice. They offer perspective. They listen before speaking, and that listening creates trust. And trust makes influence possible. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It doesn't mean you always have to compromise. It means acknowledging someone's perspective and feelings, even when you don't agree. It's about seeing the human behind the words, and responding in a way that shows respect. Empathy requires vulnerability. You have to be willing to feel what others are feeling. You have to allow yourself to connect with their emotions without judgment. And that vulnerability creates depth. It creates a safe space for others to be real with you. And when people feel safe with you, they trust you. They listen to you, and they follow you. In the end, influence isn't about control. It's about connection. It's about creating a space where people feel understood, valued, and heard. When you lead with empathy, you lead with heart. And that heart is what makes influence last. So, communicate with empathy. Listen with care. Speak with understanding. Because the more you connect emotionally, the stronger your influence becomes. Chapter 10. Mastering Non-Verbal Influence. Words are powerful, but actions speak louder. Your body says more than your mouth ever could. Non-verbal communication is the foundation of influence. Your posture, your gestures, your facial expressions, these elements shape how people perceive you before you even open your mouth. When you walk into a room, people notice your presence first. They feel the energy you bring, and that energy tells them everything about you. Mastering non-verbal influence means controlling your body language in a way that aligns with your message. When your body speaks with confidence, people listen. When your body speaks with warmth, people connect. The first step to mastering non-verbal influence is awareness. You must be aware of the signals you're sending out. Are your arms crossed, creating distance? Is your posture slouched, signaling discomfort? Or are you standing tall, shoulders open, inviting connection? Awareness is the key to making adjustments. When you change how you carry yourself, you change how others perceive you. Non-verbal influence starts with your eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul. They speak volumes. When you make eye contact, you're telling the other person, I'm engaged, I'm present, I value this interaction. When you avoid eye contact, you communicate the opposite: disinterest, discomfort, or even dishonesty. Eye contact doesn't mean staring. It means connecting. The best communicators use their eyes to create trust and understanding. Your facial expressions also carry immense influence. A genuine smile can put others at ease. It says, I'm friendly, I'm approachable. A furrowed brow, on the other hand, can make others feel defensive, like they're being judged. Pay attention to what your face is saying. A neutral face can sometimes be misread as anger or frustration. A smile, however, invites openness. Your posture is the silent communicator. When you stand tall with your chest open, you project confidence and approachability. When you slouch, you create barriers. Good posture says, I belong here. It commands respect without demanding it. Body language also involves your movements. When you move with purpose, people follow your lead. When you fidget or cross your arms, you signal anxiety or resistance. Leaders use deliberate movements to guide others. Their actions are confident, steady, and intentional. People are drawn to that stability. In nonverbal influence, gestures are key. A wave of the hand can invite someone in. A nod can show agreement or understanding. When you gesture in alignment with your words, your message becomes clearer and stronger. Mirroring is another powerful tool. When you subtly mimic someone's body language, you create rapport. You show them, I'm like you. I get you. Mirroring isn't about copying every movement. It's about creating a sense of connection and understanding. It helps the other person feel at ease and more willing to listen to you. Nonverbal influence also involves the space around you. This is called proxemics, how you use physical space to communicate comfort, power, and connection. Standing too close can feel invasive. Standing too far can feel distant. The key is finding the right balance. A comfortable amount of space builds trust and invites interaction. Nonverbal influence also operates through tone of voice. Your voice carries weight. It conveys emotion, urgency, and intent. A calm, steady voice conveys control. A shaky, fast-paced voice conveys uncertainty. The way you say something can be more persuasive than what you actually say. In moments of conflict or tension, your tone can de-escalate the situation. In moments of excitement, your voice can engage others' enthusiasm. All of these elements, eyes, face, posture, gestures, space and tone, work together to influence how people see you. They are the silent signals that either reinforce or weaken your spoken words. The best communicators understand this. They speak with their bodies, not just their mouths. They match their words to their non-verbal cues, and they create harmony between what they say and how they say it. This alignment makes them irresistible. People are drawn to their authenticity. Non-verbal influence also requires emotional awareness. It's about tuning into your own feelings and recognizing how they affect the signals you send. When you're calm, your body communicates peace. When you're anxious, your body communicates tension. Emotion is contagious. When you are in control of your emotions, you project stability. And when you project stability, others follow your lead. In moments of pressure or tension, mastering your non-verbal influence becomes your greatest asset. It keeps you grounded when others panic. It lets you lead with composure, even in chaos. When you've mastered non-verbal influence, you speak with your whole presence. Your words become stronger because they are backed by your energy, your posture, your eyes, and your tone. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to push to be followed. When you align your body with your message, people can't help but listen. So, use your body as a tool of influence. Be aware of the signals you send. Master the language of presence, and watch as your influence grows.